So let's jump right into the teaching for today. Ramping up spring bees. A lot of you hopefully made it through winter with your bees surviving. If not, you're going to be starting with a package or a nuke. So whether you're starting with an overwintered colony or a package or a nuke, you want them to build up really good in the spring, right? If they start off kind of slow and they have problems in the spring, usually those problems just hang on, and it makes the summer bees a little more worse. It makes everything go worse all year long, And so it's good to get things in order as quickly as you can. And that's what this teaching is about today. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to be talking about 6 things. Here's the 6 things I'm going to talk about in more detail. Okay. I'm going to talk about replacing the queen early. If you've got an old queen, I'm going to talk about equalizing your colonies. I'm going to talk about giving space before the bees need it. I'm going to talk about spring mite control, feeding early, and swarm control. So let's jump right into it. Oh, and there's some bonus helpful tips. And that is a feeding trick I'm going to share with you. And I'm also going to share a tip on how to build your brood up faster. And going to talk about how you raise bees, not just thinking about hives, but bees. So let's jump right into it. Okay, let's talk about replacing the old queen early. Why are older queens risky? Well, obviously, you can figure that out, right? The older a queen is, she's at greater risk of dying, of running out of stored sperm in her organ called the spermatheca. So she becomes a drone layer, and they're going to replace her. If she can't fertilize eggs anymore, she is of no help to the hive. And so, a queen does run out. She will stop laying good. So older queens are risky because they might fail. When they do fail, by the way, they supersede them. If you don't know that word, supersedure means they're just replacing the old queen that's failing. They run her out and they raise a new queen from one of her fertilized eggs, a young queen to take over her place. Another reason that older queens are risky, older queens might cause your bees to be a little more swarmy. That's right. A younger queen, a new queen, has a little more queen mandibular pheromone. So it might be that they won't swarm as much if your queen isn't old. So that's another reason it can help with swarm control. And then lastly, you do want to replace your queen early in the spring season before she fails, right? So in other words, it's preventative maintenance, so to speak. Hey, thank you, Joel, for your donation. Appreciate you being here tonight. Thank all of you for donating to the live stream, by the way. So if you're ahead of the game and you got an old queen and she's still doing a good job, but she's probably 3 or 4 years old, I think it's a better idea to replace her while she's doing a good job. Because think about it. A lot of people might wait until the queen stops laying really well. And then they say, oh, my queen isn't laying good. I see spotty brood pattern, or I don't think she's laying at all. And then they have to kind of hustle to actually get this done to get a new queen in there. But now the hive is suffering because they don't have good brood pattern. In other words, replace your queen kind of on a systematic basis. Like, I know it's easy to say, I'm not going to fool with that. If she's good, I'm going to leave her in there. But it's kind of risky. So if you have an old queen, like I said, 3 or 4 years old, I really recommend you replace them in the spring to help them build up faster. That's what you need to do with your queen. Now let's talk about equalizing colonies. I'm pumped and excited about this one. So let's say you have either, a new package, or you maybe did a split, or you have a colony that overwintered, but one of them is extremely weak. A lot of you tell me, oh my gosh, I've only got a handful of bees in there and a little queen. They're not going to make it. What do I do? Well, one of the things you can do is you can equalize your hives. That's what's so fun about having more than one hive. I know a lot of people only have one, and, don't feel bad if you have only one hive. We don't hate you. We love you. But if you have more than one, it increases your options. Remember what I say, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. That means if you have 2 hives and you lose one, you still have one. But if you have 1 hive, you lose one, you have none. So if you have a couple of hives, you have more leverage, okay? Those of you starting out brand new in 2025, think about this. If you haven't made up your mind yet, how many hives to start with, you ought to start with more than one if your budget and time allows, because that's going to help you in cases like this to equalize colonies. So let's talk about that. Let's say you have a strong colony that you're like, oh my gosh, they're busting out of the seams. Some of you have told me this. Bees everywhere, brood everywhere. What do I do? You know, they're going to swarm. Well, but you might have another little weak hive or a new package or something that could benefit from some of those frames out of the big busting out of the seam hive. Here's something that I want you to listen to very closely. Those of you that aren't experienced at this kind of biology yet, let me explain it to you. You're going to love it when you hear me say this and explain it. This is going to just be so mind-opening, okay? So let's say you have a weak colony. You see the picture there? One colony has a kind of a A-shaped roof on it, and the other has a flat top. So let's say our flat top hive is very weak. Not very many bees in there. And the hive with the roof on it, the rooftop, let's say they're just busting out the seams. Let's go into the really strong colony and let's pull out some brood. Now, see, the other hive is weak. They need population. They don't need food necessarily. They need bees. They need food, but they also just need more working bodies. Now, what you need to do, listen, never, ever, never, ever, ever move over eggs or larvae. Why? Well, because if you move over a frame of uncapped, what we call uncapped eggs or larvae into the weak colony, they have to be taken care of. And it's weak, so they will let a lot of the brood die because they can't take care of them. So what you want to move over from the big colony to the flat top colony is a frame or two of capped over brood. It's pupae. Nobody's feeding it. It's capped over, right? And it's about to emerge. And as soon as it emerges, they become worker bees. They'll be nurse bees in 6 days. So if you move over a couple of frames out of your big colony of capped over brood, then they're going to emerge as worker bees ready to pull their weight in that weak colony. Isn't that great? That is so great. Just remember, don't strengthen a weak colony by giving them liability of like eggs and larvae. They have to feed that. They can't take care of what they got now. Don't give them more babies to take care of. They don't have any milk in their refrigerator as it is. Give them capped over workforce that's about to emerge, and boom, they're going to explode. That was worth you being here tonight to learn that, wasn't it? Well, so that's one way that you can ramp up your spring bees on the weak colonies. Spread the love around. That's right. Spread the love. Don't let that big colony hog all of the resources and all of the good brood. Spread her around a little bit. Now, the other thing is you can swap the locations of these two hives. Now, it takes a little bit of muscle, but you could actually put these two hives, switch the locations. Now, why is that? Well, because what happens then, all the foragers going in and out of the big colony, when you switch the locations, they don't care. They're going to go in and out of the same location, but now it's the weak colony. So now you got more foragers coming in with more resources, packing resources into that weak hive. Leave it that way for, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 days or a week, and then move it back. Isn't that, oh man, that's just so fun to think about. I've done that so many times, and I love doing that. Sometimes I do that when I make my splits, and it just gives a split a big shot in the arm to move that around. I've made videos of me doing this, and it's amazing. When you look at all the bees, when you switch the location, it's just amazing to watch all those foragers come into a weak hive and bring all those resources in. It's amazing. So just learn to equalize your colonies if you have some weak hives that you didn't build up in the spring. Now, look at this little row of hives here. There's 6 hives on a rack here. This is the way that a lot of people do it. I don't like the way this looks to me. In Illinois, that would blow over for sure. They're stacked up on these 2, 3 little columns. My wind would blow those columns over. That would not work for Illinois. Anyway, look, the first hive on the left there, I think it has 2 deeps and 1 medium super. The next one, 2 deeps and 2 supers. Well, eventually, look at the very far one on the right. What does it have? 2 deeps and 1, 2, 4 honey supers on top. So my point is, give space for them before they need it. Thank you, Daniel, for your super sticker. So one of the ways that you can really help your bees grow and avoid them swarming and expand is give them space. And especially if you've got a good nectar flow and you got good weather and you got a good laying queen, you got a lot of brood, give them room. So you need to add boxes. Add a brood box. If your single brood is full, add another one. And if your honey super, the first one is getting full, add the second one, add a third one. Now, what I want to say is when you start adding boxes, some of you live like I do, where there's small hive beetle. I know some of you are in areas where you don't have to worry about small hive beetles. I was on a Zoom meeting the other day and they told me they don't have small hive beetle where they are. And I just wanted to cry out of jealousy. But anyway, if you have small hive beetle and you add too many honey supers at once, that's too much space where bees aren't going to be into just yet. And those small hive beetle will go up there into those honey supers and they'll hang out because there's no bee police up there. So be careful to only add enough boxes if you're in a small hive beetle region that the bees can still run around and chase away the small hive beetles. But you got to understand, you need to give your bees room. Don't crowd them or they'll swarm on you and they won't build up very good as well. Now, this is a subject that we harp on a lot, and you've heard me just talk about this a ton. You ramp up your spring production by controlling the mites. Now, some of you may be new to beekeeping. Thank you. A lot of you are new tonight to the live stream. We have hundreds of people here tonight, so I assume that some of you might be here for the first time. I want to just roll out the red carpet and welcome you, as well as all of you that come regularly. Thank you so much. But those of you that are brand new, you may not know what a mite looks like. I've had a lot of people confuse mites with small hive beetle. They are different in size and biology and everything. But anyway, here's a small hive, here's a mite right there on that larvae. It looks like drone larvae. You see all the bees are kind of lined up looking at it. That little tiny brown dot. Now, you know, bees are small. That mite is smaller than a single compound eye on one of the bees, right? Look how tiny that is. And it moves around kind of fast. And so you might not even notice a mite on your bees. So let's talk about a little bit about spring mite control. I think it's imperative. Let's get on that right away. Mites are going to hurt our bees from expanding if they get diseased with viruses. So in the spring, we need to keep our mites under control. I just think you should use whatever you find works for you, right? Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. I don't want to talk about it right just yet, but one of the things I want to mention is honey supers are usually on the hive in the spring, right? I think I could put my honey supers on now. I'm just itching to do that because our dandelions are still not blooming yet. I know, isn't that crazy? I think I've seen a handful, but nothing. So we're still a little bit of ways from a good flow, but our trees are blooming, flowering trees are. But anyway, I think we have to consider treating for mites differently when we know we have honey supers on. So let me jump into that a little bit. Spring mite test and treatment. You got to do an alcohol wash, or if you don't want to use the alcohol wash, you got to use something like a powdered sugar roll, but you need to test 300 bees. And then you need to kind of just figure out how many mites you have. What we're looking for, a lot of people get confused about this, but you want less than 300 mites. I'm sorry, 3 mites per 100 bees. So in other words, if you do a test of 300, you're going to be at 9 out of 300 bees, but the ratio is the same. You just divide by 3. So you're looking for 2 to 3 mites per 100 bees, or around 7 to 9 mites on 300 bees. But we do the sample at 300 to make it a more effective, accurate sample. That's why we don't just sample 100 bees. We do 300 and then divide by 3. Does that make sense? So anyway, now you have to choose the type of treatment. It's going to be your choice. You may have honey supers on. So now you got to say, okay, honey supers, I can use for Roxanne. I can use HopGuard. I can use oxalic acid. I can use Formic Pro. We have more in our arsenal now, but some of those are temperature sensitive and some of those are quick kill. And some of those are kind of a long, like a Roxanne. Use those not to have a quick knockdown, but if you have 3 or 4 mites on 100 bees, Roxanne would keep it low over the next 42 or 56 days that you got that in there. See, you got to be a critical thinker. I'm here to help you. Don't sweat it if you don't know anything I'm talking about. Calm down. I understand it's complicated, but look, it's as simple as this. The treatment has to go along with what your bees are doing, what your mite count is, and what the weather's like in your area, temperature and all, and whether you have the honey supers on and what your mite count is. So for me, if I opened a hive up, I did a mite count in spring and I found out I had 30 mites out of 300 bees, I'm going to have to use something like a blast kill, like Formic Pro that kills below the caps and everything walking around. Boom, 5 days, I'm killing all the mites, right? It's not a slow kill. It kills them all. Now, that's how you use your strategy like that. So I think we should go IPM, integrated pest management, as long as we can, and don't pull out the big guns of treatment until we have to. So we have things like a screen bottom board, powdered sugar dusting. For those of you that don't like using treatments or chemicals, we can break the queen's brood cycle. Those are integrated pest management, more mechanical ways that we can use to control mites. So use those as long as you can, but keep testing to see if they are effective. And by the way, when you do those alcohol washes, you gotta spin them around, spin the bees in that alcohol for about 1.5 minutes. And I like to wash them off, rinse them off with water 2 or 3 times more to see if I can get more mites. I had one of the B Team 6 people tell me that after they did their first test, they got a certain number, but they got more mites on the additional test after that. So you might want to just keep rinsing those sample bees off to see if you do have more mites than that. All right, let's talk about some bonus tips of feeding. Okay, not bonus tips yet. So feeding is a little tricky because you don't want to feed your bees when your honey supers are on, or you're going to get, sugar in your honey. And we want our honey to be natural from the nectaries of flowers. So, but if you got a new package, or maybe a nucleus, but certainly a new package, please feed those bees, because the more you feed them, the more they're going to draw out comb on your undrawn foundation, for those of you that are new beekeepers, okay? So they have to metabolize about 8 ounces of nectar to make 1 ounce of wax on the comb. So the more you feed them, the better it's going to be. Plus, let's face it, we've had a lot of rain lately. Bees can't fly in the rain. So if you don't have some food on there, something could be a problem with them getting fed properly. Feed that new package. Feed them from the top, and make sure they have enough to keep growing and raising more brood. So that's what I mean by feeding early. Start early feeding those packages, or those weak colonies coming out of winter. That's really important too. Oh, the last thing, number 6, swarming. Oh my gosh, I'm a little worried that my bees might be. I wanted to go out there today and look. I didn't have time, but I wanted to see if I have swarm cells yet. I need to get, if I can do it tomorrow, I'm going to check for swarm cells. But anyway, swarming will really weaken your hive. Now, what do I mean by that? It's still a strong hive because they swarmed, absolutely, but half of them left, right? 40 to 60% depends, but you lost half your colony. Are they going to be as strong as if they had stayed together? No, they're only half the force now. So if you want to ramp up your spring bees, don't let them swarm. Last week, we talked more about how to do swarm control. So be sure and drop back to that live stream last week. We talked about the Snell Grow board, or double screen board, the Demarest method. I've made a video on that. But anyway, you don't want half of your bees to leave. So you can go out there like I'm going to do tomorrow, and I'm going to just start looking for swarm cells. And if the mother queen is still in the hive, I'm going to harvest the queen cells, swarm cells, and use them in other places. Or if the mother queen is still there, and the reason I say that, because if they've swarmed, then it's over. You don't need to do anything, right? But if they haven't swarmed yet, mama is still there, then what you need to do is maybe make a split. That's an artificially created split. So you pull out 4 or 5 frames with the old queen, walk away split, and get that new starter hive going. Put some frames where you remove the drawn comb and back in the box. Don't ever leave frames out in a hive. So that's one of the ways that you can control and help your bees grow, but don't let them swarm. Now, you can ramp up your bees in the spring with some bonus tips. And I'm talking about some feeding tricks or tips. Feeding, as I mentioned just a minute ago, feeding is unbelievable what it will do to help your bees draw out comb. And the reason that's going to help your bees grow, if they have drawn comb, they can do 2 things. They'll have a place for the queen to lay, and they'll have a place to put resources. If they don't have those 2 things, if they don't have drawn comb, they can't put resources anywhere. The queen can't lay anywhere. And that can be a problem. I believe a lot of queens are superseded because the colony gets mad at the queen because she stops laying. The reason she stops laying is because there's no place for her to lay on a new package on undrawn comb, right? So she can't lay anywhere, and they think it's her fault, so they kill her and replace her and all that. So keep feeding them to get comb drawn out so we can get eggs laid and resources in new comb. That's the tip that really is going to explode your hive. You don't have your supers on yet on those new packages like that, or a nucleus. So that's going to help tremendously. And wow, spring feeding is going to help on those rainy days. A lot of us feel like bees can go a long time without, needing food or anything. They can if they've got it stored away like an overwinter colony, but new hives don't have it, people. They don't have the food. Your new packages just don't have it. And so what you need to do is be sure and feed them from the top, because sometimes you can have a whole week. April showers, and this is the month of April showers, finish it with me, bring May flowers. Okay. So we got a lot of rain going on all across the US, and our bees need fed on rainy days. They still need to eat. I'm sure all of you eat on rainy days. And if you're like me, I think I eat more on a rainy day, stuck in the house. You can always add some amino acid, which is a protein, supplements to your feed. I think that's important. We sell additives, Honeybee Healthy, Amino Bee Booster, some pollen protein that protein substitutes you can add to your sugar water. Always feed 1-to-1 in the spring. And how about building up the brood? Well, here you go. Take those frames, especially those of you that have undrawn foundation. You need to spray or put some wax on there. I've got videos of using a 3-inch roller. Roll on some wax, melt some wax down, buy some wax off a Beekeeper or Amazon, 100% beeswax, please, and then roll it on, add extra to your frames. They're going to pull it out much faster, and they're going to pick the pace up and use it. Also, listen, bees won't raise any brood if it's cold outside. A couple of nights ago, we had 25 degrees Fahrenheit. That's chilly for bees. They're not doing much. They don't like raising brood in cold weather. They need warm nights to raise brood. Okay. So as much as it's warm in the daytime, it may kind of, hold them back from really cutting loose on raising a lot of brood. So be patient. Be patient. If it's warming up where you live and it's nice and warm, you can expect more brood. If it's still cold snaps, it's going to cut your brood down. You're just going to have to wait till warmer days. I think using a follower board is a good idea. Follower boards go into like a 10-frame box, for example. If you're installing a new package, that new package probably is going to take up 4 or 5 frames, all the bees, the 10,000 bees and the queen. So 2 follower boards could make that only an area tighter in case it did get cold. So there could be, your follower boards could not let the bees go to the other parts, and it would make it a little toastier, nicer. So check that out. Get some follower boards, make your own or buy some. And it might not hurt to consider insulating the top if the temperatures drop cold again on that new package. Try to make sure that they don't get chilled like that. And finally, how to build up your bees in the spring. I want you to think about raising bees, not just hives. A lot of beekeepers think about hives. How many hives do you have? They never talk about how many bees do you have. So it's more about the numbers of bees than it is the number of hives. For example, let's say you have 5 little, weak, pathetic hives. Well, you got 5 hives, but you don't have very many bees between those 5 hives. You need a lot of bees. Some people have more bees in one hive than a beekeeper may have in 5 hives. And the bees, the hives that have more bees are going to do tons better. Bees love being crowded, heavily populated. They work better together. So think about that. Think about population. You want very populated colonies. I know they may swarm if they get too populated. That's our job to prevent that by cutting out swarm cells and making splits. So focus on the colony's population. Strong colonies. You lift the top cover off, you should see a lot of bees. Closely monitor this by looking for eggs, larvae, pupae. Take action immediately, people. Think about that. If you see your population is dwindling, then likely your queen is the issue. Not always, but if she's not laying a lot of brood, you don't see a lot of eggs, larvae, and pupae, the queen's lagging behind, especially if there's resources in the hive and there's a nectar flow and you don't see brood and there's space for it. Something's wrong with your queen. Don't fall in love with your queen to the point where you're not willing to replace her for a better queen, because the success of your colony really largely depends on your queen and how well she's going to do at laying eggs. That's for sure. All right, that's tonight's teaching on how to build up your bees in the spring. And wow, that was a lot of information that we ran through. Thank you guys for soaking all that up, taking notes. And in just a minute, we're going to be asking questions. And I want to give out some ideas on your questions before we start. Remember, try to write your question in a concise manner that's understandable. Try not to write your question in 3 or 4 different questions. It needs to be in one question to make it easy for me to answer. And that'll help a lot. But I'm here to answer your question. But before we do questions, I've got a fun thing that I want us to do. We'll do this quickly, okay? What I want to do tonight is, would you rather? So the first one we're going to do is, would you rather step in honey or propolis barefooted? Leave a comment right now. Would you rather step in honey or propolis barefooted? Which one would you rather do? Leave a comment. Would you rather step in honey or propolis if you were barefooted? I got my idea which one I'd rather step in. Oh, honey. Yep, honey. Okay. These are experienced beekeepers. Oh, Alex, you'd rather step on propolis if it's cold. Yeah. Honey. Yep. Propolis. Okay, Kevin. Honey. Oh, honey is winning by far. Honey. Absolutely. All right. And you know why that is? Because honey washes off with water very easily, doesn't it? Oh my gosh. I mean, it's sticky and it's kind of messy. Honestly, I think it would feel kind of good to step in some honey barefooted now that I think about it. I mean, seriously, I think I would like stepping on honey. But when you get propolis on you, especially when it's kind of warm and sticky, it's not coming off, is it? Oh, I know. I've gotten propolis on blue jeans. I get it on my hands. I get alcohol to wash it off. Yep. All right, honey. All right, let's do another one. Let's do okay. What would you rather do? All right. Would you rather lose your smoker or your hive tool during a full inspection? Would you rather lose your smoker or your hive tool during a full inspection? I know which one I would select. Absolutely. Which one would you rather lose? The smoker or the hive tool? Smoker. All right. Some of you haven't worked a hive that's very defensive that I have. Okay. You guys are sharp cookies tonight. I get it. All right. Smoke. Oh, there we got a hive tool, Carla. Yeah, there you go. Hive tool. I get it. Smoker, hive tool. Okay. Hive tool's making a comeback. Smoker. Yeah. All right. Smoker. All right. Now, the reason I feel that I would rather lose my smoker is because I can't separate boxes without a hive tool, no matter what. And I'll be honest with you, I've broken a couple of pocket knife tips Yeah, that's right. I've broken the tip off a couple of cheap pocket knives because I didn't have my hive tool on me. So if if you don't have your smoker, you can still separate boxes, but it might be brutal on how much you get stung. And so I realize why some of you are saying that you don't want to lose that smoker. I don't want to use neither either. All right, let's do the last one. Let's have fun with one more. All right. Would you rather, what's the next one going to be? Would you rather inspect a hive in a thunderstorm or catch a swarm in your pajamas? I know which one I would say because I don't wear pajamas at night. That's TMI, right? Oh my gosh. Okay. So what would you rather do? Which one? What was it again? Would you rather, I forgot, catch a swarm in your pajamas? I don't remember what the first part was. Catch a swarm in your pajamas. Robbie's making a funny thing for me to say. Oh, here we go. We're going to do it again. Would you rather? Oh, yeah. Thunderstorm. Inspect a hive in a thunderstorm or catch a swarm in your pajamas. Okay, that's good. Wow. Let's see. All right, pajamas. Pajamas are winning. Okay. Swarm, yeah. Thunderstorm, really? Have you ever worked a hive in a thunderstorm? Come on. Charlie, you've worked hives in thunderstorms and you don't mind it? Oh, well, maybe your pajamas look like mine. Mark. Okay, I'll be honest with you. I have worked some bees in a thunderstorm and sometimes making up nukes in the spring. I remember being out there in the yard and I had a big pole. Well, it was only about 10 foot tall with a big golfing umbrella on top in a thunderstorm. Not very wise. Had to get the job done. I had to cowboy up and get her done in a thunderstorm. And they weren't that bad. I say that bees are a little more defensive in a thunderstorm, but in the rain, but I haven't had that big of a problem. Pajamas, it depends on how they're made and everything. It could be an issue, I guess, if they're kind of loosely around your legs or such where bees could get up in your pajamas. That would not be good. All right. Hey, that was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys chiming in and playing those games with us tonight. All right, let's take some questions and answers. What kind of questions do you have for me tonight? See if I can help you guys out and answer some of your questions. Hey, Alex, I built a one-frame installation foam nuke for queen mating. All right, really. With the ripe queen cell added and a food frame, what's the minimum attendance needed until she mates before moving her to a larger split? Not very much, actually. I take it that she's going to emerge, and as long as there's enough bees in there to feed her, take care of her, she can go out and get mated. I'm going to say, let's go minimal would be a cup and a half of bees. Okay. That's about you need about 500 bees minimally, I think, to make that work. Yep. Thank you, Jill, for your donation to the live stream tonight. Jimmy, David, with the new package, how long before I have brood all new hive? Before I have brood all new hive. Not sure what that question means. In a new package, and it's a brand new hive, I guess. How long is it going to be before before you have brood? The queen is going to emerge or be let out of her cage by the bees within 3 days. Thanks, Angie. And probably you're going to see eggs within a week. And then the next week, you're going to see it being capped over. So a couple of weeks, you're going to be able to see big larvae and capped over brood. Yeah. Sebastian, are bees collapsing in the U.S. or on other countries also? No, I've read in other countries, they seem to have a problem. Not all countries, but I've read of in the UK and places they've had problems as well as the US. It does seem to be more because we live here. I guess we hear more about it. Hey, Ryan, good to see you. Thanks for the talk on making queens. Yeah. Thanks, Ryan. Glad to see Ryan's getting into queen rearing. Thanks for your donation, Ryan. Appreciate it. Hey, Eric, you're leaving for a month-long trip. Well, good for you. Hope it's an enjoyable trip. I've got several new single deep packages. Can I add another deep and a super to these hives before I leave, or is that too much space? You're the best. Well, thanks. I appreciate it, Eric. I'd say if you're going to go on a trip, I would add them. The only thing you're going to risk is a little more small hive beetle, maybe, but I would rather add them. And that way, that would give you less swarming and crowdedness and help them build up a little better. Yeah, take a chance, add more boxes. Hey, Jana. Oh, you're getting your package tomorrow, and you're wondering if you can put a follower board in there with 5 frames. It is raining and cool in North Carolina. Thank you, David. Yeah, I would recommend a follower board. You can use one if that's all you have. You would just use the wall as the other one, and that would help a lot. Jana, that's a good idea. Remember, don't forget it's in there or they're going to get crowded and swarm on you. But if you got cooler temperatures coming in, that's going to tighten up things, make it a lot better warm place. Hey, Mary Day, I thought one of my hives died. Is it possible the old bees died and the new bees have started taking orientation flights? Is it possible? I thought one of my hives died. Oh, you're seeing bees coming in and out. Make sure they're not robber bees. And if they're not, and if you see bees flying in and out, it sounds like all is well and you misjudged and you thought they were dead, but thankfully they're okay. Wow, that'd be a relief, wouldn't it? Yeah, you see bees going in and out with pollen, there's business going on. Robbers don't bring in pollen. Hey, David, how old is an old queen? I still have 2023 queen that I will replace soon. 23, 24, 25. She's a couple of years old, pushing her 3rd year. I would not overwinter her. That's my personal preference. I don't want to take a 3-year-old into this winter, so I'd replace her this year. Yeah, be on the safe side of that. Absolutely. Where's our time going today? Matthew, is it okay to use a super that had brood in it for honey, or do I need to start fresh? Is it okay to use a super that had brood in it for honey? Yeah, it's okay. If it's healthy, there's no problem. It's always good to use honey frames or any comb that you have to use them again. If you didn't have any disease, that's fine. Absolutely. Will nurse bees feed from a top feeder or only foragers? Yes and no. They absolutely will. And they are going to get food wherever they can and take it and go back down to the brood area. And sometimes they may have enough food that they can get it nearby. Ideally, the frame has it in it. That's why you see the rainbow effect. You see brood, pollen, nectar, honey, and they stay right there and eat a little bit, drop back and take care of the brood. But if they don't have that there, they're going to go somewhere to get it. Hey, Ross, would an empty winter bee kind board work as an upper entrance for a demarre split to let the drones out? Yeah, there's a gap there, and they might build comb in that little gap, but you could try that. I like that you're a critical thinker. That's not a bad idea. Hey, Alex, thanks for your donation tonight. I appreciate that. I'm going to take 2 more, and then we're going to do spin the wheel. Dawn, 1st year of beekeeping under my belt. Oh, that feels good, doesn't it? My hive died over the winter, lasted until February. Very typical, Dawn. Any good tips for starting again? Yes. Cowboy up. That's the key right there. You fall off the horse, you got to get back on. All of us have lost hives. Nobody's perfect. No bees are perfect. You do it all right, some bees still die. So good for you. I would say try to learn from what maybe you could improve on it a little bit more this year. Maybe if you could do a better Mite Control samples or better feeding, whatever you might have been weak at last year, try to build that up a little bit more. See if you can make it better this year. One more, and then we'll do spin the wheel. Hey, Larry, I plan to raise queens with your class as my guide. Well, that's good. Thank you. Want to bank some? Better to bank virgins or mated? And how long can I bank them? That's a very good question. Always better to bank mated queens. If you bank a virgin queen after 21 days, she probably will not ever go out and mate. So that's risky. Get that virgin queen mated, laying good, and then you can bank her. Yep. All right, let's do a spin the wheel. Now, if you're new to the live stream, this is where anything happens. Got a lot of options tonight. Let's see where we got a couple of giveaways as well. If it lands on the Beak Squad stickers, those are giveaways. So let's see where she lands tonight. And if it lands where I don't like it, I'll spin it again. It's my live stream. I'm kidding. All right. Oh, it's a giveaway. And tonight, this is incredible what we're giving away. This is crazy. This is probably the most expensive smoker available. This is, I think it's a $60 or more Daydant smoker. Some of you are saying that's how you say that word, Daydant. It's a company called Daydant. This is made right here in the US. This thing is known by all beekeepers as the most solid, and this is not a paid promotion, but beekeepers tell me this rocks. This is a heavy duty smoker, man. This thing is, look how big it is. And I've got a big head in more ways than one. But look at that. That thing is huge. This is a Daydant smoker we're going to give away. And all you need to do is leave a comment in the chat section, hashtag smoker. Okay, hashtag smoker. That is crazy. It has a guard right here so you don't burn your fingers. This thing gets hot. I have one, and it's a tough smoker. It is really tough. Made in the U.S. If you like U.S. made stuff, it's a Daydant smoker. So there you go. We're going to give this away tonight. We got one more giveaway as well. So like I said, this thing is, I think I bought this. I paid for this. I think it was $60. I made a video about it, didn't I? $60 or so. All right. So hashtag smoker. Get those comments in there, all lowercase, as soon as you can. I'm glad to see all of you here tonight. I just want to tell you, I see Lou here. There's Betty. There's Dan. There's Jenny. And the live stream, the chat goes by so fast. That's why we need so many people helping us out with that chat, because my little eyes can't read those words. There's David Finch. Hi, David. Steve Hunt. Yeah, look at that. Wow, so many of you from all over the place. Aaron, third-year beekeeper here in North Indiana. How do I keep my wife from thinking the bees are more important than her? I want them both to feel loved and equally. Oh, Aaron. All right, Aaron, thanks for the donation. Man, I got to come up with an answer, don't I? That's a question that kind of not bee related, but kind of is, right? So we should have Sherry answer that question. No, I really think that it's just a matter of being disciplined with your hobby or your job. If you got a lot of bees, and you have to say, okay, I need to make time for my wife. I need to make time for the people that I love in my life, but it's really hard. I'm a type A personality. I'm a workaholic, and I can err on that side of neglecting Sherry. But tomorrow night, Sherry and I are going out to eat. Sherry is an artist, and she has a beautiful drawing in a, what do you call those? An art gallery in Champaign, Illinois. If any of you live near Champaign, you should go see her work. But anyway, we're going to go in, look at her work, and then we're going to go out to eat, be a little romantic date for me and Sherry. So do you have to do things like that, Aaron? Just, yeah, don't talk about bees all the time. I've found that, Sherry especially, there's a moment in time when she's like, can we just not talk about mites anymore? All right, let's have a giveaway. All right, Robbie, take us away. See who's going to win this wonderful smoker. Man, this thing is just a nice smoker, really. Some of you that know smokers, you're thinking, even if I have one, I want that one because it rocks. All right. Hashtag smoker. Let's see who's going to win the smoker tonight. Karen, Tracy, Danny, Catherine, Ken, Logan, Ed, Chase, Daniel. There you go, Chase. Chase is the winner tonight. Chase, be sure and email us within 24 hours. The address is beaksquadwinner@gmail.com. Chase, you're going to really love this. If you don't live in the U.S., Chase, we're going to have to send you something else. Whisper Human, thanks for your super sticker. If you don't want to donate tonight to the live stream here on YouTube, you can always donate at our live stream at honeybeesonline.com. There's a place on our website where you can make a donation there. Some of you do. I saw somebody made a donation today before we even went live, so I appreciate that. EL, always great to see you. It's wonderful that you support our channel. Thanks for your super sticker. We have another giveaway, and I want to give away to one of the lucky people here today on our live stream, one of our spring classes. It's a class, an online class that teaches you about spring beekeeping management. Hey, Marianne, good to see you. Thanks for your donation. And so the spring class is all about swarm control. It's about supering your hives, top super, bottom super, kind of like, what do you do in the spring? How do I get these bees going? It's good if you're a brand new beekeeper starting with a package, or if you're experienced but got a lot of bees you don't know what to do with. So hashtag spring in the comment section will get you in the running for our spring giveaway. Yeah. I've got a joke I'm going to tell you. Are you ready? I was going to save it in case it landed on joke, but I want to share this joke. All right. See if you like this joke. Here we go. All right. I went to a beekeeper to get 12 bees. They counted. Oh gosh, I can't read my writing. Let's see. They counted and they gave me 13. And I said to them, hey, you gave me one extra. And they said, that's a freebie. Wah, wah. There you go. There's your bee joke. Some of you needed that bee joke for your next talk, didn't you? Hey, Jack, thanks for your super sticker tonight. You guys are awesome. It does take a little bit of a few nickels to make the merry go round on the live stream. So we do appreciate you guys. Your donations help us give things away and help us to have speakers. We pay our guest speakers. So we always like to use your donations to make our live stream better. And I think it's getting better, don't you guys? All right. Well, great. All right. Let's see who's going to win the online spring class. Robbie, leave it up to Robbie to take her away. See who the winner is going to be tonight. All right. Let's check it out. I like watching the names go by because I recognize so many of you here in the live stream. Hey, there's Rich Hargrove. Thank you for your donation, Rich. Good to see you tonight. Yeah. All right. Glenn, Renee, John, Bill, D. Green, Tracy. Oh, David Finch. Sounds familiar. I think I said hi to you earlier. Yeah. Hey, David. Well, you won, David, my spring class. That's a nice looking Camaro. Is that what that is? I can't tell what car that is, but it looks nice. Got a stripe on there. It's for sure a way to get a ticket by putting a stripe on your car. So, yeah, thanks, Derek, for your donation. So be sure and email us at beaksquadwinner@gmail.com so we can send you that spring class. That's great. We have a few minutes for rapid fire. Robbie, give us a rapid fire image on the screen to get people excited about rapid fire questions. There we go. All right, I'm going to answer these fast. Don't expect long answers. How long should I wait to test mites on a new beekeeper here? I would test it probably 1 week after you install it. Absolutely. Hi, David. Southern Wisconsin. Is there a good feed mix that won't ferment or mold after a little bit? Not really. Remember, any good food is going to go bad. It's the stuff that's got too many preservatives in it that doesn't go bad. Hi, David. Getting 2 new packages this weekend. Still too cold at night for liquid. Can I use Owner Be Kind? Absolutely. Do it. Make it happen, Mike. I had a queen swarm into one box, stayed 2 days, then moved to back of a mating nook box. Is that normal? No, James, it's not normal. Bees don't do anything normal. That's what makes us having to have so many critical thinking skills to figure out what to do. Vlad, good to see you. I want to discourage swarming. Is there a downside to not feeding to ramp up bees? Feeding doesn't really cause swarming. A lack of space causes swarming, not feeding. What do I look for to know there's a drone congregation? Maybe I'm too worried that no one else has been. And I didn't know there was drones would be congregating. Yeah, you'll never find a drone congregation area in the sky. They're kind of high up. You can get a drone, bait it, look, but it's hard to see them. But they're there. You got drones. You got drones. A couple of more. I have 4 of your feeding boards. Would it be better to use 2 jars for feeding by using both of the cutouts? I do. Yeah, I like to use both of them, both holes. Absolutely. One more rapid fire question from Sally. Lost my bees in the fall. Sorry, Sally. Oh, you got new ones coming. Good for you, Sally. You know how to cowboy up. I'm proud of you for doing that. Can I add my new bees in the boxes where my bees died? I have lots of resources in those boxes. Sally, yes, you can, especially if you know there weren't any like American foulbrood or European foulbrood in those boxes. You're good to do that. Absolutely. Wow, this has been a rapid live stream tonight. I want to thank all of you for being here. This is the biggest part of my enjoyment on my week is Thursday night. It really is. I'm just so excited to be here with a big family. So thank you all for watching. Please subscribe, click on the bell, tell your friends that there's a cool live stream where 600 or 700 beekeepers gather every Thursday night and hang out for an hour. Bring your friends in. We got room. We got open chairs. So bring them in. A lot of you watch on television. And I appreciate you watching me on the big screen. I know it's a little harder to subscribe. Maybe I can put a barcode in there to help you in the future. Yeah. Hey, Richard, good to see you. I'm glad that you appreciate our teamwork. So I do want to say thank you, Carrie and Sherry, Jessica, and Robbie. And one day we'll just have to have the team on here and you guys can see our team, but we really appreciate all the things that they add to the live stream. A lot of things coming up with bees. I know that the weather is warming up. It looks like spring might be here to stay, even in Illinois. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Don't jinx it, David. I know. But anyway, so I want to tell you guys, you're the best. You really are. You are just so fun to be with. And you guys are so smart, so sharp. I just think it's powerful to be with you guys. We are the community. We are a heartfelt live stream where we can just be together and don't have to worry about being lonely, being separated. Beekeeping can be lonely if you're the only person doing it. So it's good to have camaraderie with friends. So I want you to know I got your back. I'm here for you. I'm working my tail off to answer your questions, to give you good beekeeping videos. I'm here working for you. I work for you. So thank you. I hope you appreciate all that I do. I love you to the moon and back. And I look forward to seeing you next time. I hope to see you in the next video. Good night, everybody.